Breaking news on a Wednesday. Welcome into Steelers Talk. I literally just woke up to the news today. The Pittsburgh Steelers have signed cornerback Desmond King, formerly with the Houston Texans, got waived here during these NFL roster cuts, and now the Steelers are adding to their secondary just a day after they set their initial 53-man roster. So we'll be breaking down the details. We'll be talking about what this means for the Steelers moving forward, because they do need to cut somebody because they're adding somebody to this roster now. But before we get into those details today, go ahead and click that subscribe button for me right now, whether I'm at home, whether I'm in the studio, whether I'm on vacation. If something happens with the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm going to have a video for you guys, and you're not going to get that level of dedication anywhere else. Pittsburgh Steelers fans are the best fans in the NFL. They deserve the very best coverage, and that's what we try to do for you guys here on Steelers Talk. So do me a favor right now, if you haven't already, click that subscribe button and let's get started, man. Desmond King, very versatile cornerback, formerly with the Houston Texans, has kind of gone all over the league. He's played with the Chargers, he's played with the Titans, he's kind of at a couple of different places, but he's been a very solid veteran that can be moved around the defense, kind of similar to how Cam Sutton could also play outside as well as inside in the slot. That's the same thing with Desmond King. Now, because he got waived by the Houston Texans, who maybe don't have the most talent in the secondary, that tells me that maybe Desmond King has fallen off a little bit. But the Steelers apparently loved Desmond when he was coming out of college. They were really interested in drafting him before the Chargers ended up scooping him up. And he's somebody that the Steelers have kept their eye on for a while. And now that he's been waived, they pick him up. And, now the big question is going to be, there's really two main questions in my opinion. Number one, is he going to start? And number two, who are they going to cut after this move? Because now there's 54 people on the roster. You got to cut somebody. And, I'm sure the news of that will come out in due time, and we'll be covering whoever they do end up cutting on today's Steelers Talk live show. We're going to be going live at 5 p.m. Eastern time today. So if you haven't already, click that subscribe button so you can join us and we can talk some Steelers football and talk about this trade more. But, to answer that first question, right, is Desmond King going to start? And the answer to that question is, I don't think so. Because you got Patrick Peterson, you got Levi Wallace as your for sure starters on the outside. Now, I think that they're going to be moving Patrick Peterson around a little bit, playing him in the slot, playing him at safety, moving him around as kind of a versatile chess piece is kind of what Mike Tomlin has envisioned for him. And because of that, I would say there's definitely going to be times where Joey Porter Jr. gets on the field, because when Patrick Peterson is in the slot, you want somebody on the outside. And it's going to be interesting to see if that third outside cornerback piece is going to be Desmond King, or if it's going to be Joey Porter Jr. to start the 2023 campaign. JPJ showed, obviously some good things in the preseason. He had that interception, that really big storyline there, and in the second week of the preseason, gave the ball to his dad, the whole 9 yards. But he also showed some hip tightness. He showed some deficiencies in coverage at times. He did not have his best game against the Atlanta Falcons, where he gave up some losses, even though he was going up against second team, third team wide receivers. So it's definitely possible that the Steelers feel like he might not be quite ready to go yet, and that might spark this decision to go out and get Desmond King, who can play inside, who can play outside, and right now the Steelers do have Chandon Sullivan, they do have Elijah Riley. Both of those guys have played pretty darn well in the slot. But, of course, Mike Tomlin loves his versatility. He loves guys like Cam Sutton, who can play both inside and outside, and really gives this team a lot of options in case people get injured. And, that's something that's very valuable in the NFL. And a guy like Desmond King, who's still only 28 years old, by the way, it's not like this guy's an old man by any stretch of the imagination. He's still a good player, and now the Steelers are adding him. I would expect now, to answer the second question of what's going to happen now in terms of a cut, I would say either it's probably going to be that second punter, Braden Mann, whether they just can't find any trade interest for him at this point, or it's going to be a cornerback, right? Probably James Pierre, because James didn't have the best preseason, and Desmond King they might feel is a better option to fill that spot in the cornerback room and provide this team with some really much needed depth, in my opinion, because, as much as I like James Pierre, I've been a James Pierre advocate. I thought he had a really good game when he started against the Indianapolis Colts on Monday Night Football last year. He had that incredible interception, if you'll remember. But this preseason, lots of mental mistakes, not great in coverage. He gave up a couple of touchdowns. And, the Steelers might look at him as somebody that's replaceable as a backup cornerback option. And Desmond King, when it comes to backup cornerbacks, it's about as good as you can get, man. He's somebody that's super reliable. He's played in a ton of football games, almost 100 games in his career to this point. And he's somebody that the Steelers have had their eye on for a while. So I'm going to continue to talk about what this means for the Steelers defense here in just a second. But first, let me know in the comments section. Grade this signing A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know what you think about this signing because it's definitely interesting. For me, I'm going to give this one a B. I'm not quite sure who they're cutting yet. We're going to be talking about that on the Steelers Talk Live show when that news breaks later today. But just on the face of this signing, I'm probably going to give it a B. All right. There's definitely a reason why the Texans ended up cutting Desmond King, right? They obviously believe in the guys that they have in their cornerback room, but they definitely didn't feel like Desmond was worth keeping on their roster. I don't know why that is. I haven't been following Texans camp. I'll definitely be diving into the film today to see what happened with Desmond in the preseason. Was he getting lots of losses? So I'm sure this grade is going to evolve as I learn more about Desmond King and why the Texans ended up cutting him. But on the face of it, man, he's a very versatile player, very experienced player. He's still only 28 years old. And if this is a move where they're just replacing Desmond King in the cornerback room for James Pierre, and it's just a straight up swap there in that secondary, I think it's probably a pretty darn good move for the Steelers because I do think Desmond King is probably better than James Pierre at this point in their careers. And, I really hope that this signing doesn't eat into any potential playing time that Joey Porter Jr. might get, because I do believe in JPJ. I do want him to get on the field this year. I do want him to have that opportunity to prove that he can be that number one corner in this secondary for years to come and get his career off on the right foot. But at the same time, if Desmond King comes in and starts balling out, I'm 100% okay with that as well. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see. I'm going to be doing some research today. We're going to be talking about it more on the Steelers Talk Live show today. Again, 5 p.m. Eastern time. But before I go here, I have another question for you guys. I want to know right now how you're feeling about the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Let me know in the comments section right now the answer to this question. The Steelers will have a top blank defense in the National Football League. Do you think they're going to be top 5, top 3? Do you think they're going to be the best in the league? Do you think they're kind of overrated? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section, because I want to know. Personally, I think they're going to have a top 3 defense in the National Football League this year if they stay healthy. I like the secondary. I like the linebackers this year. I love the pass rush. I think it's probably one of, if not the best pass rush in the league heading into the year. So, and of course, I love the defensive play calling from Mike Tomlin and Terrell Austin, the defensive coordinator. So I have big hopes, big expectations for this defense this season. Could definitely catapult this team back into the postseason. We're going to be discussing this signing. We're going to be discussing who they cut. We're going to be discussing a bunch of different stuff when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers on today's Steelers Talk Live show. I know I keep pushing it, man, but I just want to push that today because I really want to see as many of you guys as possible in the chat this afternoon. Really do appreciate all the support, guys. I will see you guys at 5 p.m. Eastern later today. And as always, here we go, Steelers.